I was watching this documentary on Netflix. It's something about Japanese history, blah, blah, blah. And weirdly, a lot of the historians they were interviewing are British people. And I was like, they couldn't find a Japanese historian? Like, why are they interviewing British people about Japanese history? And there's this, so if you watch CNN and you see the Africa expert,
right,
it's always a white guy. And you're like, wait, what? Like, they couldn't find a historian in Africa about African things. Anyway, so that got me thinking about representation in the sense of what happens to a Sri Lankan kid if this kid grows up watching movies and all the movies this kid is ever exposed to have white people playing the good guy and Sri Lankan people playing the bad guy. What does this kid grow up thinking? Or if this kid grows up and all the movies have Sri Lankan people only playing the good guy and these movies have no Arab people ever, no black people ever, and white people are always the bad guy. I mean, how does that affect a kid? Yeah.
Correct. So you're talking about a group of people, or
yeah, like the way groups of people are represented or not represented at all in media.
In media,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So, like, you remember the wave of Black Panther when Black Panther came out, and apparently it was a cultural event. Unpopular opinion, I didn't think the movie was great.
Black Panther?
Yeah,
we're
Black
talking
Panther.
about Avengers.
The movie Black Panther, yes.
Okay.
No, the standalone Black Panther movie. I thought it was an average movie.
Okay.
But in terms of representation and in terms of being a cultural event, it was huge. This was the first time that a movie about a superhero had the entirety, almost fully black of the cast. There was only one guy in the main cast, Martin Freeman, token white guy. But the rest of them were all black people.
Right.
And the movie made $1 billion. Apparently in Hollywood, there was always this thing about if you have a movie starring only black people, it never makes money. It will never make money. It'll never make money. And then this movie comes out and it makes $1 billion. So then it completely changed the script about how they see things. And also apparently it changed the way black kids see themselves.
Okay.
Because all along they've watched movies where black people are always the bad guy. Now they're seeing a movie where they're like, wait a minute. So the black guy can also be the superhero. Or when Obama became president and there's this interview of the kid touching his hair.
Yeah.
And then he tells the kid, yeah, my hair is just like your hair. So the kid grows up thinking, oh, so you mean people who have hair like mine can also be president? So it changes the way these kids see the world. So do you think it really affects how people think?
I think you should always have representation. I mean, we do currently have representation, not in media per se, but we have government officials. In an organization, we have a team leader. We have our manager or someone to represent us. Right? But that is always happening. But the representative can screw up everything. Like I'm talking about the Illinois Black Panther Party, right? Fred Hampton.
Yeah.
So he was a great guy. The way he represented people, everybody liked him. But the way he gave speeches and all, people liked him. And he was able to form the Rainbow Coalition, right? Everybody together. So he could gather everyone together and do things for the community. So that was representation, doing a good job. Now, if you think about the World War, we still think Nazis.
We still think the Nazis and...
So that doesn't mean all people from that area is Nazis, but Hitler, how he represented them, made us think that he's a bad guy. So yeah, representation is very important.
But then you see, that's what I'm talking about in media. So for a very long time after World War II, anytime a German person was represented in media, they were always represented as being bad.
Correct.
Whereas it's not all German people who are bad. So a kid might grow up watching all these things, and the kid is like, wait, you mean German people are this horrible? Or alternatively, like in movies, for a long time, black people were always represented as being gangsters. So any kid who's watching those movies like, the best I can be is a gangster. That's it.
Yeah.
Or where white people are always represented as, watch any alien movie. For some reason, the aliens always only invade New York and Washington, D.C., and then the Americans show up and save the day. So white kid grows up knowing, if you're Russian, you're bad. The aliens won't come to your city. If you're American from D.C. and you're white, the Americans will show up and you will save the day. So this is what the kid grows up believing.
Correct.
And it ends up amplifying mostly the bad traits of those who are underrepresented. So if you have movies where Indian people are only represented as being tech people, if there's an Indian kid who'd want to be something else other than tech, they think they don't have any other option. They think this is all an Indian can be.
Yeah.
If you have a Chinese person who, the Chinese stereotype that all Asians are good at math, what if you have a Chinese kid who wants to be a painter?
Yeah.
Like, what options does this kid have? They grow up thinking, I have to be a mathematician or there's nothing else.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's about the media impact from a side, and also inspiration from another side. I can be inspired with the black hero, and also I can be inspired with a white man gangster. So I think it's not really necessary, and it doesn't stand as representation of a group of people by media or an event that represent us as a black people, for example. I think it's based on how that impact people and how people get inspired with that. I watch movies, not that much, but since I was a kid, I watch movies, and I like the action movies. I like the movies that racing movies and cars and all.
Okay.
And from that time, until now, I love cars and I love driving cars. It doesn't matter who is driving that. I think it's not always they make it in purpose to represent some group of people, but maybe us as viewers, we see it that way.
I disagree with your point in this sense. Look at any movies that were made maybe late 80s all the way to maybe a few years ago. Every terrorist ever was an Arab guy. Is it that all Arab people are terrorists? How many terrorists are there in all of the Arab world? Maybe 5 who've done something that has made it to world news. How many Arab people are there on the planet? Hundreds of millions. Do these 5 people represent the way Arab people see the world? Absolutely not. But if a kid grows up and all they ever see is that Arab equals terrorist, Arab equals terrorist, or black equals thief, black equals thief, Russian equals dangerous, trying to invade our country, Puerto Rican equals trying to cross the border illegally. And this is all they ever see. And remember, this is kids at a very formative age where they're very impressionable. It's very easy for them to believe. As opposed to a kid growing up and seeing the entire spectrum. Today, there's an Arab guy who's a race car driver. Tomorrow, there's an Arab guy who's a doctor. The other day, there's an Arab guy who's a politician, which is what the world really is. You find all these people everywhere. So as opposed to representing only one thing, why not represent everything? Why does Denzel Washington have to be a crooked cop for him to win an Oscar? As opposed to him just, playing any regular guy. Or why does, what else? Why is it that the hero in the movie, for a very long time, up until maybe the 2000s, always had to be a white guy? Have you seen this movie called Gods of Egypt?
Yeah.
Starring Brenton Thwaites.
Yeah.
And what's this Danish guy from Game of Thrones? What's his name? Yeah, there's a Danish guy from Game of Thrones. Imagine bringing an actor from Denmark to play an Egyptian god.
Oh.
And then there's also Mr. 300, Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
So get an actor from Scotland, Denmark, and the US to play gods of Egypt. You see how messed up that is?
Yeah.
And then in all of this, or Aladdin, why in Aladdin, the bad guy is black, the way he's animated. The good guy is white. Aladdin is supposed to be taking place somewhere in the Middle East, but the hero is somehow white. You see how messed up that is? So it's all this messiness that...
Correct.
Yeah.
But I understand your point, but aren't they trying to change it right now? Because I saw James Bond is going to be, the next James Bond is going to be black.
That's also another mistake. It's not that James Bond is going to be black. 007 is going to be a black woman because James Bond is presumed dead.
Okay.
007 is just a title that they give to anyone. So the character of James Bond remains a white male.
Okay, so
the title of 007 shifts to someone else. It's just like president. Anyone can be president.
Yeah, but
if they make a movie about Donald Trump today, it will be played by a white guy.
Yeah.
But if they make a movie about president, it could be a black guy or a white guy. It could be a young person or an old person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. But they're trying to, it's not only about the skin color, but they're trying to represent females. Like all these feminist movies are coming out and all that stuff. So they're trying to change the narrative, but it's not happening in a fast.
And also there's a lot of backlash against it. Have you seen Star Trek Discovery? Have you seen the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes?
No, I didn't.
It's just people taking issue with the fact that the lead character is a black woman. Right. Not the quality of the production itself, just this character. Or if you've seen, there's so many movies which is like this, where they're saying, oh, why did they have to, I've literally seen people complain about, fictional characters.
Right.
Why is it played by a black guy? In a movie where there's supposedly someone in space, your worry is that there's a black person, not the fact that there's, a god who has a hammer that can redirect electricity. All these things. So I think we're still very far away from correcting that mistake.
Yeah. What I see is like what you said. So the Hollywood or the big production companies, they're trying to change the narrative. Netflix, they're getting all representative. Every country has their movies and all. But people are still adopting. People are still reviewing it as a bad thing. So it's the people who has to change. The representation will come. Now, if we keep giving bad reviews, of course Netflix will be like, no, we shouldn't
this
try.
Isn't working. Let's try something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Now think if a move similar to what Netflix is making now had been made 100 years ago.
That is true. But 100 years ago, the world was racist.
The world still is. Maybe even more than before.
So things are changing, but it's slow. Only we can change.
Yeah, we can, of course. Not because we don't want to, but because we have to.
Correct.
Yeah, it's the only way we can survive. I mean, we are some of those people who are saying we should be represented. So it's in our best interest to try to change whatever is going on around us. But in a nutshell, I think, don't kill me for saying Black Panther was an average movie. In terms of the quality of the script and everything, it was average. But as a cultural event,
all right, okay.
See you next time. Oh, it's this, it's not this?
Okay. Now what?